Hello, hello. We are here with day number 5 of season number 1 of ProBots 2024. 7. Joining me is Van Yoshi.
What's up,
How's it
everybody?
going? There's just a lot of numbers. I thought I'd add another one.
7's a hard one to do
It
single-handed.
is. It's tough. It's a good
But
prime.
I'm good. Excited to see some bots, and
Indeed.
yeah, just have a good time. Love StarCraft. Love talking about it.
Yep. It's the last, it's the consolation last chance match. I've been trying to think what to call it. I think the last chance to not be deleted
Yeah,
match.
this is it. If you're
Yeah.
gonna show up, now's the
Yeah.
time.
That's it. It's game time. We've got here's our lineup tonight. We got Zozo versus Kanana. That one's potentially quite cheesy, and by potentially I mean you'll see.
Yes.
Then we got Micro Machine versus Neonka, a nice TVT there. And Benbot versus Ender is going to be interesting. That one is probably the one out of all these that I'm least sure on. And then
Yeah.
rounding it off with Sharkbot versus EPN Roach, which is the Evil People Network.
The 666.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, thanks for joining us tonight. I'll start it off quick that people should hit the like button. I usually remember to say that like half hour in or something, but we want it up front. We want people to hit the like button like early to get people in on these boats.
Yeah, we've seen also all the bots that are going to be playing tonight. So put in the comments who you're really rooting for. Again, this is the last chance. If you want to explain real quick why this is the last chance or how we got here.
Because of this here format, which is a group stage dual tournament. So basically GSL style, if you follow StarCraft at all, where there's groups of 4, the 2 of them make it out and 2 of them just are left there to die forever. And this is the final match. The winners will make it forward and the loser will go away. Then they will move on to the playoff format, which is the single elimination bracket for the 8 that made it out of groups, best of 3 quarters, best of 5 semis, and then the finals will be a best of 7 in the end. So I think some good ones tonight. Some of these I think are rematches from earlier in the group. And I think at least one of them, their previous, actually this starting one, their previous matchup was 2-1. So a little uncertain on what's going to happen. It may come down to maps. The authors have had a chance to update their bots since the first week. So a loss in the first week may not be indicative of the loss of a loss this week.
Yeah, and even if it's the exact same bots, the exact same programming, the exact same map, the butterfly effect gets real crazy real fast with bots. And so a slightly different pathing that a worker sees can cause a different reaction, and that can really domino effect into like literally just such a completely different game.
Exactly. We should get a clip from Jurassic Park, the Jeff Goldblum speech, and just plug it in to explain that to people. He explains chaos theory to Laura Dern, who eventually becomes a vice admiral in the Star Wars universe. But he explains chaos theory, and that's definitely the case here. A small change. Like early on in our first seasons, the bots just kind of did the same things, and then people thought like, what's the point of a best of 3 or like whatever? If they're bots, they're going to do the same thing. It's tiny differences will totally change what the outcome is, because doing the same thing on a different surface creates a totally different result.
Yeah, and especially when the bots aren't programmed where it's like you're gonna do ABC every single time. It's like you're gonna do A and then you're gonna check for something.
Yeah.
And if that comes back a certain way, that's gonna change what your beat is. And that's where it gets very quickly, crazy and chaotic, and a lot can change even in the same set with the same bots, same build order. But also some of these bots also have like 15% chance to do a different build order completely. And so
exactly. And and some also, like you said, there's actual machine learning in their micro. There's different stuff. They're not deterministic. Another good, I guess it's like the 3-body problem as well. More sci-fi movie stuff or TV, whatever it is, books than TV,
pop culture media,
whatever they are. Yeah. all that stuff. But
Yeah, and if you're
yeah.
interested in learning about how all this stuff works,
Oh, yeah.
ProBotsAI.com. Yeah, let's get the plugs in.
Do it.
ProBotsAI.com is where you can go. If you're interested in kind of this whole universe of programming bots, how they work, if you want to fight against the bots themselves, ProBotsAI.com is where you're going to start doing all of that. And then just another really quick shout out to AIarena.net, which is where this bot ladder kind of exists and where we pull from a large pool of bots.
Yeah.
And we only show you the best ones, but there are a lot of
Yeah.
them out there.
Yeah. Yeah, they do seasons of like thousands of games, and because they just play them, on a supercomputer, presumably, or someone's laptop, but they're
Yeah.
played somewhere, but like really fast. The actual bots, so we watch them like at normal speed. The bots actually play their games at like 16 or 20 times speed, so they could get a lot of games in and things like that, and then we watch the replay. But I
Deadliest
think
Warrior style, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Exactly like Deadliest Warrior, which is a completely scientifically accurate show that has
Yes.
never been wrong. And when we can use the Jurassic Park technology to clone old ninjas and make them fight, then
To really fight pirates.
Yeah, it's really very cool. It's gonna be a cool one. They're gonna take that blunderbuss to the face. So yeah, our first matchup tonight is going to be Zozo versus Kanana. I think we got some stats, or here's the bracket of how we got here. So as mentioned, Zozo did win in their first matchup 2-1, but it was very dependent on how well its early worker rush did. And in one of the games, it messed up and got stuck on like a building or something.
I think a scouting drone, pulled like half of the worker pool all the way back to their base. It was disastrous with, literally just one very micro situation difference.
Yeah, exactly. So this may be quite different. Kanana kind of took the long road and went through the losers, and we'll get that rematch here and see what's up. But again, there's been a chance for Kanana to update, so we may see some changes to the behavior. Then we've got Neona versus Micro Machine. Micro Machine facing Phobos, which of course is the same author as Eris, a former multiple time champion. I mean, so is Micro Machine as well, also a former champion. So this one, that's kind of the one to beat. But Neona, we haven't seen a lot of so far. So should be an interesting one there. And it's a TVT. Then we're going to have Benbot versus Ender. These two have faced already in the first round, and it was a 2-0 for Benbot. But once again, there's been a chance for them to update. So if they've taken advantage of that and strategically planned, then we could get some different things. And then rounding it out is going to be Sharkbot and EPN Roach. These two have not faced yet. EPN Roach made it past Dovahkiin in the losers to get here, and Sharkbot got knocked down by our random bot, Xena. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting one as well. Sharkbot also known occasionally for some cheesy stuff.
And for just great banter.
Yes.
I'm a big Sharkbot fan. One, because I feel like Protoss aren't too popular in the bot scene. It's a lot of Zergs, a lot of Terrans. I mean, Marines and Zerglings just feel better, I think, early game micro. So yeah, I love Protoss, but also I just love the banter and the movie quotes and kind of giving us something to look at. Yeah,
exactly. Fun stuff. There used to be more Protoss, and then we've had a lot of them, just the authors kind of went away. And then one of them, like Tyr, is our longest term like Protoss champion for a while and just switched to Terran. So I think Tyr was always coding all three, but always submitted his Protoss one for like the first 10 seasons we did this, and then only recently switched to Terran. So yeah, we've got way less of them. At the start, we had way more like cannon rush style bots, and that's kind of fallen out of favor, but I want to see more of that again, because like it worked a lot of the time.
Yeah, like shield abuse.
Yeah,
I could see. And then also, the early game cannon rush I could see being very popular. But with actual units, I think it makes sense. We've been leaning more towards Zerg and Terran.
Yeah, definitely. So if you could pull up the stats for Zozo and Kanana here. Zozo, obviously, the picture indicative of the worker
So
rushing.
good.
It is great. Elo of 1792 and a win rate of 46. I mention every time that the ladder that they play on is split into divisions, so that's their win rate in the highest division, not indicative of how they play against everyone on the ladder. So it could seem lower than it really is, and then a fairly low crash rate. All of these guys don't really. We haven't had crashing problems yet this season, but often when they start the season on the ladder, they'll have a crash or so, then they fix it. So often the crash rate's also not indicative of what the current state is.
Yeah, it's like when two people have been playing for 12 years and they went one way for the first 10 years, and the last 2 years it's been like completely the other way.
Yeah.
But the lifelong stats do not represent that at all.
Exactly. For instance, the Maple Leafs have won cups in the past, but don't expect it anytime soon. Kanana here at a 2048, which is also a popular game where you move little cubes around. And the win rate of 70. It is a cool game. You just spam left, or up, down, left, right, or whatever. And a win rate is 70%. And coolness, pretty good. So this one, like counting on us, like I want to see if there's been updates to the behavior at all, because with the worker rush stuff, so he's added on. This is what the log says. Basic swarm host support, which isn't going to help in this game. Improvements to technology configuration and improvements to zealot rush defense. I'm hoping that potentially extends to probe rush defense, because that's going to be the issue more so.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't fully lean on like having a bunch of lings out and it's like worker response to the zealots, I feel like it should work
it
similarly.
Might translate,
but it's always scary. Worker pulls, especially with good pullback micro, and you can get like the shields regenning and stuff, can be very scary for sure.
Yes. So we'll see. See what happens here, and I think we can jump in.
Kanana. Zozo.
All right, it looks like Zealot Defense is exactly what Kanana is going to need. A classic flower build coming out of Zozo.
Yeah, this is good. So he didn't send any workers this time. Yeah, we've actually seen, it's funny, this exact like evolution happened in the second season that we ever did this. We had a person that sent, I forget their name now, it was Russian name, Dmitry Bot, I think. And which I think the person then corrected me that they're actually Ukrainian. So Ukrainian name. And they did this in the regular season. We did a regular season and then a bracket. And in the entire regular season, they did worker rushing. And then when we got to the playoffs, they switched to zealot rushing. And I think so all last season, Zozo was doing the worker rushing. And now we've got straight up zealot rushing. So yeah, let's see. We've obviously got the attempted improved defense. It looks like it's been improved.
I would say the spine crawlers were really quick to go down, which I really like. Well, the fact that the first zealot even scouted the flower build is like phenomenal. So that first Zergling went straight to like the left of the main and natural and kind of scattered it out. Immediately, 2 spine crawlers went down. 2 more are going down, going up to 4, and then a roach warren also on the way. Queen's even kind of blocking this ramp is nice to try to minimize this area, surface area, but It's a lot of zealots and no lings.
Yeah, if creep was there, then I'd say that's a good move. But going off creep for that is not a good move. But definitely time has been bought to get these spine crawlers up. Once again, though, a single tumor down would then let you move the spines up, but you can't really do it in the way that you would like to.
Yeah, and this pooling from Zozo, I kind of like. It's a tight line to walk because you really don't want to take too long and let Kanana tech up. Right now, roaches are going to be on their way, and tunnel.
Burrow.
Burrow is going to be on the way. Not tunnel and claws yet. But yeah, so like, there's definitely a time where the wind is completely out of Zozo's sails. This might be almost perfect though. This is, I think, the first roach on their way, and it's only one roach. Not really the gas to, get into a bunch of them right now. And it's so many zealots together.
Yeah, now I don't think he wants the lings to engage here, so good pullback, but some of these got damaged. You're going to want to engage at these spines, but the lings are going to sit back and let them get swarmed, which is not ideal.
Well, and there's only like 6 lings or something. Like the number of lings is surprisingly low.
Yeah, they let it be whittled down a little too much by semi-engaging them.
Yeah, well, and there was such an investment into later tech when this wasn't fully defended. So 2 gases, which I think like 75 gas total has been mined. Like not a significant amount of gas has been mined. So 1 gas geyser, or wherever they call those. I always think a simulator. Extractor, thank you.
Extractors, yeah.
Yeah, so like 1 extractor would have been totally fine. Going into roaches I like. Going into burrow immediately I probably don't like. Because it just like, it's so much investment assuming that you're going to be fine. And then all the zealots come.
I think if the other stuff was in line, that like the obvious thing is that you think burrow really, really helps roaches, which it does. These roaches that you're seeing right now will never die. Like they just won't. But that's not relevant because the buildings are going to die.
These roaches are immortals.
Yeah.
At this point.
They're literally they are. and like again, these burrow drones will also not die, but that's also irrelevant. Actually, all these zealots could now just leave and these buildings will just melt.
And I kind of hope they do, because I guess that this first game is going to be 10 to 11, 10 to 20 minutes, and it is not looking like that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
5:30.
So he definitely had some improvements there on what the defense is, but it just didn't. There's a few little things that are. I think literally 1 creep tumor to connect the 2 bases would have helped like a ton, and then it's just coordinating lings to attack at the same time that they come into the spines. Like that makes such a big difference, because you could see once they moved past them, so many of those zealots were like red and almost gone. And if like 6 to 8 lings were attacking, and that's another thing, there were 12 to 14 lings, but then they kind of engaged at the natural, and then they kind of engaged like on the way there, and then there were less left at the end. You have to commit. You can't engage zealots and then pull back. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, once they get the double swipe off, that's like basically already a ling. The 2 queens also, I'd love that they were able to block the ramp. If they did that once the spines were finished, once the lings were there, then it's like such a stronger hold. The way that it worked out, it was kind of a little too many engagements before the final engagement. I think also possibly just a wrong read on how many zealots were actually coming. I think after the initial 5 zealots were kind of deflected, Kanana kind of went back into like macro mode. Let's get tech up. Let's get bigger and better. And Zozo was just really holding back another like 15 zealots. So I think that's A, impressive on Zozo's part, and then B, just unfortunate with especially how much information Kanana had at the beginning. That first Zergling started out great and got, the information of the zealots coming. Spine crawlers go down. But then the later on information just didn't seem like it was quite accurate of how big of a threat this really is.
Yeah, I think he knew he wanted to get up to Roach, but you have to get it's just too long to get there. You can't stop making lings in the meantime. You have to just keep making them. Yeah. All right, so let's jump into game number 2, see if we get a repeat or if we get another 2-1 situation.
Kanana. Zozo.
All right, I did under 10 minutes for this one.
Yeah, yeah.
I am no longer a believer of long games.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. This one feels like it's a little bit of a longer walk into the main. So that may help. Anything I think that buys a little bit of extra time helps Kanana.
Yeah.
And
But when you do something super aggressive like a one base all in as Zozo's going, and especially a techless one base all in, no gas, time is definitely your friend as a defender. So Kanana definitely wants time. Let's see, this Zergling is looking like it's going to go down there. If it's a human, they would re-rally it right before it sees it.
Yeah.
Bots, I feel like they usually let their rallies go through.
Yeah. So the first two zealots making their way. I like the Ling keeps kind of like checking them to make sure that they're still coming.
You really want to attack with these?
Yeah, and already two spines coming down and a queen there should help defend this. And the workers were helping out last time too.
The Lings are just letting that queen die.
Yeah, that's suboptimal. But another one out goes for the inject. There is a fourth spine, but it's way back at the gases, which I don't love. I don't know if that will move up once it completes, but you really need, like, the placement of these really matters. Yeah. Ideally, you'd have like an arc at the top of the ramp for them to die to. But with only one queen now, this body block on the ramp is even worse, and he's going to go, just gonna be left alive. So that's
get back on creep. Go back to the main. Yeah. Do not hang out in this dead space middle ramp.
Yeah,
where the queens are just crazy slow.
Yeah,
I think you can even really sack this natural if you have roaches on the way. It's really the tech is going to be so huge later on that I don't think the natural is worth giving up your army to defend.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely not. But having 3 roaches out now with Spinecrawler support, suddenly this is quite different.
Yeah, I mean, this looks infinitely better. If the spines were a little bit up and, like you said, a single Spore Crawler would do wonders. Not Spore Crawler.
Creep tumor.
Creep tumor, there you go. Yeah. Connecting the bases, because that middle area is just so rough to see the micro. But yeah, with spines and with roaches trying to body block that ramp, I think it looks great. Off creep, it looks a little scarier, but the zealots are afraid.
Yeah, there's enough roaches now that I think it's totally safe at this point. Like the roaches are effectively invincible. In reality, it's just a matter of how long do they take to kill the zealots. Mm-hmm. Once they get to a point that they can kill 4 zealots faster than you can build 4 more, then you're fine. And that's probably about 4 roaches. And so now we're at like 8 or 9. That's way more than enough. They'll eventually push in and end it.
Yeah, and the micro ability, even without Burrow, it's still just going to be so rough for these zealots to ever actually get on these roaches. And Zozo had some nice kind of logic with like holding back zealots until he had like a certain number and then going in.
Yeah.
But at this point, I think it's too many roaches where that logic is all, it's all jumbled up. And now it seems always like it's going to be afraid to really commit with these zealots.
Yeah, and the issue is, of course, he's right.
Yeah, like he shouldn't. Right? He loses that fight.
Yeah, he shouldn't. You lose the fight. It's just there's also no point in doing this. I'm kind of wondering what the original logic was. It may be that when you see spines, I'm going to go when there's 4 zealots per spine or something. But now that there's this many roaches, there is no number that's correct. It could be 50 zealots, and it doesn't matter. Unless they had, like, charge or something, which, of course, they don't. And now they'll do this little ring around the rosy thing.
Yeah. I feel like even with the way they were attacking, if everything kept attacking and you only pulled back the injured ones and try to do some shield shenanigans,
Yeah.
With this many roaches, it probably won't matter. But with the first 4, when you had like 12 zealots versus 4 roaches,
Yeah.
I think you can be more annoying than obviously what is happening right now.
Yeah.
So now the real question is, how fast does Kanana clean up these buildings? Because am I going to be wrong twice on my time guesses?
You might be. It'll be. I think the buildings will get cleaned up, and then it's going to be how long does it take Kanana
gonna be a
to
macro
actually move out?
Yeah. This one roach has 8 kills.
Yeah, they're going to kind of keep coming out quick enough to distract them. And weird, I feel like some roaches just went home and aren't helping anymore.
Yeah,
but,
you got this. Yeah, they have like 12 in the base.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're right. Those 6 roaches will be plenty.
That's fine. Yeah. And there's stuff out on the map like scouring around, but have not attacked the other side yet.
Yeah, honestly, the scouting from Kanana is absolutely awesome. I love the initial couple Ling scouts, and then once it kind of feels comfortable on their side of the map, it really has like most of the expansions covered, you know, an Overlord in the main.
Yeah, Zozo is now attacking up.
He's blocking the one gas that he does take.
That's it. Yeah, it's time for the Cybercore with no gas. See what happens. And yeah, Kanana just adding bases and is not looking in any hurry to end this.
Man, they got 50 seconds to end it. For a Bang Yoshi.
Not gonna happen. Not gonna
Correct
happen.
answer.
Yeah, it looks like 77% of people had no faith and went with the under 10-minute.
It's like you let yourself be hurt, you know, and then you don't want to let it happen again.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I'm surprised that Zozo even has the code to build stalkers.
Yeah, I love that there is, after like, what is it, like 30 zealot deaths?
Yeah,
a transition.
There is a backup
built.
plan. Yeah, it's quite. I mean, even adding like a robo and a forge and everything else, like shield batteries coming down.
Hey, if Kanana builds corruptors into stalkers, maybe, you know, maybe Zozo.
The Ling rush into the ramp is not ideal, but here come a bunch of roaches behind it.
And the one shield battery is awfully far away from anything with shields.
Yeah. Not too shabby though in cleaning up. The Lings, a lot of them I think are not attacking, they're milling around. But the roaches should do it. As the
like Warcraft 3 body blocking shenanigans. Yeah, they're kind of getting destroyed by the probes. The Lings are...
Yeah, they're just orbiting. They're not actually attacking those things.
Those probes got hands.
Yeah,
the roaches,
78
Lings a little bit better.
Yeah, into the main again. I don't know that they're eventually attacking. It's just not that they're not all attacking. They're like attacking like one at a time.
Yeah, and it's still not like it's not like when one gets hit it pulls back, because it seems like they're being pulled back even when they're not getting hit. So it's some interesting dash dancing, juking and jiving, but eventually Kanana will take it. A little over 10 minutes, unfortunately.
Yeah, a little over 10, 13:40.
It was actually closer than I thought. I thought once it was stopped, it was going to be like a 25-minute. Kanana was going to take 10 bases.
Yeah, I mean, Kanana basically went until he was max. That's it. But
luckily, Lings and Roaches max out pretty quickly.
Max pretty quick, yeah.
Did not try to max out on Breed Lord, Swarm Host, Viper.
Yeah, exactly. So we are going to have a game 3, and it's still a little... That looked from... I'm thinking that was the exact same map that we had the reversal in the first series in week 1.
Where that third is just a little too far away, and it's a little more time for Kanana to set up.
Yeah, I think that made a difference, and because I remember that almost exact same Roach and Zealot circle happening. So it was pretty much a repeat of that. So let's see if the third map is the same. But yeah, it looks like, again, Kanana has the right idea of what to get to. It's just a matter of getting to it safely without losing too much. And the queen is being a bit too unsafe, for sure.
The queen is so close to being like so
Yeah.
pivotal, because even there, when it was just the one queen, it got between the two spine crawlers,
Yeah.
and it like almost has like such nice positioning to like stay alive.
Yeah.
But then it kind of runs away towards off creep rather than
Yeah.
towards the mineral line, and the lings and drones kind of don't want to get involved, and then that kind of, you know, snowballs in a bad way. But yeah, once the first couple roaches come out, especially with very quick burrow,
Yeah.
it gets held pretty hard.
That helps. Yeah. Yeah, definitely is the case. Had that accumulated, I was concerned about the spine positioning. Some of them were back, but let's see how it goes this time around and who's going to carry on.
Kanana. Zozo.
All right, my heart wants Zozo, but my brain's kind of leaning towards Kanana.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Kanana has more potential later in the tournament, whereas Zozo, it's going to be kind of this. It'll be a good gut check for people, but
yeah,
it's slightly different beast. Let's see how this defense goes. If the queen stays alive, that's
honestly,
pretty
if
important.
these drones could help out a little bit, the positioning of the queen infinitely better than like every other game so far. Every other meaning the other two games.
Yeah, and with with one zealot already dead, this one kind of getting chased back. I don't think it'll get picked off, but the queen doesn't come down, which is good. Gets another inject off, which is good. I think last game it died. The first one died, and I think having the extra larva and stuff is going to help. But yeah, we'll see. It's the fact that he still kind of makes drones and stuff that's risky.
The confidence level.
It's an unjustified confidence.
Those are not the only 4 zealots that are coming. They're going to be groups of 4 joining in every so often.
A big help here is the positioning of the ramp compared to the hatchery, because without a creep tumor, there is creep on the ramp.
Yeah, with that hatch going down, it should die down.
It'll dissipate now, but
and the queen that's lived for so long almost got its partner out.
Yeah.
Does go down. Off creep.
The pullback here, a major tactical error, I think. I think they could have bolted through that stuff before the queen came out, and maybe better. And
before the roaches come out, too.
Yeah.
I feel like that was their window of, you got the first queen down, the zealots are the lings are kind of scared.
Gonna go quickly again. These lings need to engage with the spines. I don't know if they will, though. They're closer to doing it, but they're not doing it. Okay, now with a roach, they engage. Okay.
And spines are totally okay to go down. They're kind of here, just meant to soak up damage and do a little damage, but really take a lot of hits. But there are still like 10 zealots alive, 12 zealots.
There's about to be more roaches, but it's not enough. The queen may distract, but a lot like the drones can burrow. So as long as this gets cleaned up, it's okay. But you've got to hit that point where there's enough roaches to kill everything faster than they replace it. But with them all on top of it, this is going to be really tough.
Yeah, the only thing that I kind of like is because of the burrow and there are so many buildings around, the zealots aren't just like waiting near the burrowed roaches. So they do get to play a little, hit and hide guerrilla warfare. But yeah, I mean, I think the numbers are just not going to be enough where if you're not going to let me kill you, I'm going to kill all your buildings, and that will just work.
Yeah, if the roaches could like go off to the side, group up, and then chew through this, but no, they're gonna get the hatchery, and then as soon as the hatchery is dead, the rest is inevitable because again, everything could die and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right, so it looks like yeah, Zozo is gonna take it. This was very close in this one, but there you have it.
Yeah, both games look like a little dominant towards the end,
Yeah.
but it's like that snowballing effect of like, man, that first queen goes down, feels really bad. Those first two zealots go down, it feels really good, you know, and vice versa. So yeah, Zozo does take it 2-1. I was wrong on every prediction I made in the YouTube chat.
That happens.
So if you guys are wrong, don't worry about it. We'll have more questions that you can maybe get right later on. Oh, that hurts.
It happens. It happens. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. He almost fumbled the bag there by doing the withdraw, but
yeah,
then
with the spines.
But he came back very quickly. I was worried he was going to withdraw and then take a while because in the first game he withdrew and then took like another minute to come back. This one just withdrew, got a couple more, and went back right away, and that was in time. Had that been like 10 seconds later, it would have been a loss. There would have been four roaches. Like
yeah, just or another way, not even 10 seconds, but yeah, 4 roaches. Like the number of roaches to trigger that flight or fight.
Yeah.
And choosing flight kind of decision making.
Yeah.
You know, it looked like even with 15 zealots, a certain number of roaches, they would not engage.
Yeah.
And so being able to get on the production where now when you're not engaging with roaches, you actually get to fight something and do damage and not just run back to your gateways.
Yeah.
I think, it's just so different when you can get back on top of there, which I think really does, come back to that map. And the second map being a little bit further away, the third, makes just all the difference.
Indeed. Yeah, very map dependent. We'll keep harping on that. Here's Micro Machine with an ELO of 1938, just before World War II, and win rate of 79.45. Super ready to invade Poland. And his
I'm
opponent.
always impressed. They say not to do math on stream, but to do history on stream.
Oh yeah,
consistently. I would never guess what year is associated with anything.
It's there's certain ones that are like pretty
ingrained.
Comfortable. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Neonka here with a 1704 and a almost 50-50 win rate. This one again shows the crash rate of being quite a bit higher, but we haven't seen any evidence of that yet. So likely has been ironed out, but we're going to get pretty good TVT here. I think it'll be, can Neonka hold the typical Micro Machine aggression? We saw last week that Phobos was up to the task, but it's kind of a gut check that very few people can handle it. We'll see if Neonka can in this one.
And then remind me, is Micro Machine like 3 racks, like proxy type Terran, or is it bunker, like try to get a tank over there? Contain?
More go with Reapers, go with Hellion Cyclone, then go with Banshee, then
some
go with
true
that.
TVT.
Like it's just some aggression, like waves of annoying aggression.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see if Neonka does anything cheesy on his end, and let's hop into it.
Micro Machine. Neonka.
All right, Micro Machine might not be 3 racks proxying.
Nope.
But Neonka is 4 racks proxying.
Indeed. This this may be pretty strong, although we see this sort of situation play out a lot where people try and cheese Micro Machine, but because it opens with the Reaper openings, it just kills all your workers.
Yeah, this is the thing that happens with like cannon rushing a lot, especially if you do the cannon rush of like building your first gateway across the map.
Yeah.
The first instance of you getting harassed hurts so bad, and also your opponent has the kind of luxury of, even though they're sending units across the map, they're still building units at home.
Yeah.
Where you really only have that production across the map. So yeah, this could get really ugly unless these Marines can really shut down. I mean, basically all the mining, because these two Reapers are going to do just that.
Yeah, and there's a wall there. Like, there's going to be a pretty good amount of Marines here, and with the production up front, it's going to be hard for Micro Machine to get a bunch. However, its micro is really good, and once these Reapers finish here, the two Reapers could quite handily take care of all these.
That was a almost BM Manor Mule of doing it on the outside expansion while you're getting pushed up your ramp is hilarious. This Hellion trying to get some shots off and getting some repairs from the SCVs. I think the Reapers are on their way back now that they've killed pretty much every SCV that Neonka has.
Yeah, you see them coming. The fact that the Hellion is still alive is actually pretty impressive here. The fact that anything is still alive is kind of, because there's a lot of Marines here. Like, that's not a small number. Now they've kind of got things cornered, but maybe you're letting it through. It's a lot of Marines to deal with here. But Micro Machine has a second base where he can continue to drop mules.
I was gonna say, and they're both orbitals. Is Neonka's base an orbital? I don't know if they ever actually
don't think so.
upgraded it. So I think Neonka just like does not have an end game other than shooting everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have kind of draw conditions built in where Micro Machine can just float away.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that. Whether they pick it, like, you can see obviously the buildings do have a tendency to try and pick up. The Reaper's trying to be really careful. We'll eventually be able to whittle this down, but yeah, it's often a race between this and will the buildings die. That first CC is on fire. But it looks like it's getting repaired.
Maybe look just like a little down to see if that... Well, Reaper, I guess we do want to see this Reaper too.
Reaper in a dangerous spot. Like, it basically can't get cornered here. But even if you're just doing, like, 5 hit points of damage at a time, as long as the Reaper just stays alive, then it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know about... I feel like the Reapers are not going to be able to do much building damage.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll be the play. I think they have to whittle away at this army.
Yeah, which is a shame. Reapers used to excel in that.
Oh, yeah, when the grenades would destroy buildings.
Yeah, they dominated buildings. Okay, Reaper may get stuck here. Getting away. Luckily, the Marines are not super great at following.
So it's like a long game of Snake, where you just to make sure that your tail does not catch up with your head.
Yeah.
As long as they drag them into the depths and make these really long circles,
it's going to be
theoretically they should be okay.
It's going to be all the grenades here. Like, that's the only thing like really doing damage, because they're not gonna risk shooting very much.
Yeah, and I keep thinking the grenades are going to hit like 20, and it's hit like one Marine every time I've seen it so far. Ooh, this is not a good corner to go into.
There's a good one. But the grenade hurt him. Yeah, the grenade hurt him because it moved guys in to kill the other one.
Spread out the Marines, yeah.
Yeah. Now the Marines are going to kind of return. Okay.
Oh, God, there's not enough, like, income to keep repairing.
Yeah.
All right, that CC's dead.
Yeah.
For sure. We have one more CC and I think barracks still in the main base.
Yeah.
Some SCV production.
Yeah, he's got to get enough up to... It actually may help that the CC died, because he was going to keep trying to repair it and never build up.
Yeah, the one SCV that he would get would just go across and die to the Marines.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hated the Reapers attacking the rack setup.
Yeah, but
the Reapers attacking the home, pulling back the Marines is actually kind of huge.
Yeah.
Micro Machine does have a future in this game. Neonka what you see is what you get. Those 17 Marines are going to be those 17 Marines.
Right. It's throwing down the supply depot unnecessary right now, but I get it. Okay, nice grenade again, but still not killing. Like a lot of deeply red orange stuff,
yeah.
but he's got to get to the point that some of these die because their firepower is not being reduced at all.
Some autumn leave Marines for sure. That's a great grenade.
That was a good one.
This spot is getting really scary.
It's each time that you get that good grenade, though, it spreads them and it becomes dangerous for a second.
Yeah, you need to get it in the open, not in the corner.
No. That's one thing about bots that we'll learn. Okay, there one died, I think. Yeah, one thing about bots that you'll see happen repeatedly is it went down the cliff and immediately forgot that an army was up there.
Yeah. All right, can we just talk about priorities of Micro Machine?
Yeah.
You see the production tab?
Yeah.
We're going into Cloak.
You gotta get Cloak Banshee out. Like, if I don't even know, so he's got to build a gas to make this work, or else he's not gonna be able to make a Banshee. But yeah, one Cloak Banshee should win.
I mean, that will do wonders until it runs out of energy. Then you better get the heck out of there.
And as long as this stays live. He's not mining gas, and he's not like building another gas. So like the fundamentals of this are broken. Like something, it may not, again, comprehend the situation enough to know I've got to remake like a barracks and
don't jump back up.
Stuff.
Don't jump back up.
No.
Oh, it doesn't even matter.
Okay. Yeah.
Man, Micro Machine has a lot of money though. They've actually rebuilt a considerable amount of like.
I think something's broken though.
No units, yeah. Oh, just throw it out of barracks.
Yeah, that could be funny. The CC there, if he doesn't see it.
All right, if that turns into a planetary fortress, and the Marines attack it endlessly. Yeah, I think Nyanka just eventually wins it if Micro Machine doesn't know how to build units again.
Yeah,
I think the fact that the barracks and the technology tree was reset, but the top part of the technology tree, the starport's still down, is really throwing a wrench into Micro Machine's understanding of what it needs to build.
Yeah, we've seen that sort of thing happen a number of times, that something gets killed that's so fundamental that you're like, well, if I lose it, forget it. So, and then they don't really know what to do about it. There's just so much. These are just so damaged. Like the damage got spread out so much. Yeah, only 2 of the Marines died, despite the fact that health-wise, half them are dead.
Yeah, I think even, I mean, it's not going to be a great trade, but just attacking with the SCVs, you're going to get some of those. I mean, there's at least like 5 with 5 HP, where it's like one hit will kill them.
Something that could be, I don't know if he's going to do it, but something that could help is if these went into the main and killed everything, because maybe then it would cause the tech tree to reset.
If the starport dies, then it's like, all right, we're starting from the ground up. Yeah,
because I think he wants to build a Banshee, but has no way to get there with the logic.
This is a game.
It is a game.
I'll tell you what. This is a wild. Like, I think Nyanka wins, but like, there's so many avenues that Micro Machine could come back.
Micro Machine could definitely do something right now to like put down 2 barracks and win the game, but this doesn't seem capable of doing that.
Yeah.
But I think because this has not been seen, that gold has not been seen. Again, if he gets into the main, resets this stuff, maybe it triggers something again. But now he's going to lead him to it.
They keep going down this way? They do.
Yeah. And that one's not an orbital yet, unfortunately. This one will get back down.
Yeah, no orbitals now. So if all these SCVs die, there will be no more mineral income and no way to generate it. I mean, they're going to play, Ring Around the Rosie for a while. Yeah, this insistence on repairing too, I get it, but it also consumes
resources that need to be used somewhere else.
Why are you at the mall when you're broke? You know?
Yeah.
We do not need to. We cannot afford to repair right now.
Yeah,
Another
I just don't know.
CC being built
Yeah.
in the main. I catch on fire.
Neonka, for whatever reason, doesn't want to go into the main.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the ramp or what,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, here we go.
All right, the SCV's gotta jump on the 5 Marines. This is the opportunity of a lifetime.
Not gonna do it, unfortunately.
Tragic. Yeah, Nyanko will eventually win this game in a very interesting play out of events. Yeah, there are so many different points that would go if it goes slightly different, just such a different ending. And like just it shows you how important kind of like the end game is. You know, I don't play a ton of chess, but I like to play like a little bit. And my end game is by far the worst part of my game, where I'll feel good for so long, and then I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I have no way to like turn this into tangible, like good play. And that kind of seemed how it went with Micro Machine, because I thought he felt like he was in a very good place at the beginning of the game and even throughout most of it. But then it's just that decision making in the final hours of the game are so important.
Yeah, for sure. Had all the material, I guess, to do it, and yeah, couldn't quite close it out. The candidates chess tournament was just here in Toronto, like last week or the last couple of weeks.
Nice.
So that was fun, but yeah, I don't know. I don't understand end games either when things get just everywhere. It seems like there's like 50 possible moves, and who knows?
Yeah, it's like the most solvable, but also like it changes so, you know, the end game state is so different every time, but it's like the fundamentals are so like understood, because it's like, all right, when you only have 4 pieces, you don't have to think that hard. This is like how they interact. But
yeah, I think at this point all 7-piece or less end games are 100% solved. Like there is just a correct answer, but it's just, can a human have that correct? There are times now when an AI gets to like 7 pieces left and then immediately says like mate in 168.
Yeah.
Like, so
it's like the pre-moves where it's like as soon as you move, it's like yep.
Exactly. So so let's jump into game number 2, see what's up. One of the authors of Micro Machine is in chat and was asking how the bot did last week. So he's following closely, apparently. But let's see.
Micro Machine. Yonka.
So right off in this one, these are a lot farther away.
Yeah, this is almost looks like a fake proxy where you do it like in your natural. The distance almost seems comparable to building it in your natural or your main.
Yeah, it's purely to hide it, I guess. Which he'd be better off literally if they were in his main, because there's going to be Reapers coming to kill this stuff in your main.
Yeah,
like
I feel
long
like,
before.
If the Marines, maybe once he sees the Reaper, if any amount of them were to come home, you know, I could kind of like this position. But as a proxy 4-gate, if you're trying to get like go for the neck, let's kill them, let's do it now.
Yeah,
that is one of the furthest away proxies you can you can make.
Quite true, and yeah, we'll see how this initial attack works.
It looks like Micro Machine, instead of I feel like they went for a very quick natural last time. A tank is already on its way.
Yeah,
and so I like that
so much better.
A lot, yeah, that's pretty huge. Mule coming by to repair a little bit, semi unfortunate. And these Marines will break down that wall pretty quickly. Now, obviously, on the other side of the map, the Micro Machine Reapers are destroying Nyanka's SCVs. So it's going to be a similar position as in last game, where these Marines kind of have to do it.
Yeah.
And the repair is good.
Yeah, the repair is going to be the key here. When the tank started to siege for a second, I thought you might be better off not sieging, but with the SCVs to support, that definitely that's better.
Well, and with Nyanka not, you know, trying to take advantage of the siege. If this was a human versus human,
you would just
those
jump
Marines
on
just
it.
get on top of it.
Yeah,
your tank doesn't do any damage. But with Nyanka trying to micro all the Marines, the tank does a freaking amazing job. And this game looks like it's pretty much already.
It's over now. We're out of minerals and there's nothing. So so yes. Now, how long to clean that up? He's already spotted it, and so they are moving out. And the Banshees
from last game.
Yeah.
That never were, but wanted to be.
There you go. There's your quick game.
That was a quick game.
Yeah. So weird one, because again, so the supply depot broke down like 3 seconds before the tank came out and sieged. If that wasn't built entirely in the opposite corner, then he's right.
Yeah, the Marines are like closer.
That he's on the factory before the tank comes out. So, yeah, let's again, maps. I'll keep harping on it. Maps make a big difference, but they're just build location, because it wasn't even just the map. He chose to build in that corner, whereas before it was like in the not third, but like fourth around the side.
No, Zozo would choose like the linear third.
Yeah,
and that would change the position. Yeah, this didn't even seem like it's based on like any kind of expansion path or anything.
Yeah,
it was just so far away.
Just go over there. Yeah.
Yeah, and if those Marines are hitting that tank as it comes out, and the SCVs have to come over, and the tank has to siege, the amount of damage it changes so drastically in situations like that.
Indeed, it does. So, I don't know. I mean, again, the Reapers, I think, no matter what, are going to get across and kill everything. Then it's just going to be a matter of how many Marines have gotten out before then, and there is still the opportunity too of the Reapers giving good pathing can clean everything up eventually. It's just, do they live long enough to do it?
Yeah, I still want a tank or a Banshee. It would make me feel so much more comfortable.
For sure. Definitely the Banshee. I want a cloak Banshee taking out on the Marines.
All right, well, we'll see what happens.
Micro Machine. Yonka.
Yeah, kind of close. I mean, closer than last time, farther than probably the first time in terms of pathing. Reapers were still already on the way across. So it's a matter of how many do you get out and what's the situation.
Yeah, the factory is pretty quick again, and I really want to see, because the first game, Micro Machine took a pretty quick natural.
Yeah.
They built it in their main base, but they did expand fairly quickly. I feel like not expanding just gives so much more, obviously resources into being able to defend the initial push. And this Reaper may even stay home, or at least just slow down these Marines pretty significantly.
If a bunch of them.
Okay. They have some sort of corrective.
They added a tiny bit of time at least. So again, a tank is on the way, but he's going to break through way quicker this time around, and it will make quite a bit of difference. One thing, I don't know if he'll use it because it's not what it's for, but there's a bunker. Right?
When I saw it being built, I was like, is that going to come into play? And then I was like, no, it's a gas.
I don't think he'll use it. Yeah.
If a tank could get in a bunker, though, man.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be a strong bunker.
But even if you were able to throw a Reaper in the bunker, yeah. So there's the tank needs
Oh
to
my
repair
god!
it really
Oh
good.
my god! I can't
The
believe it's alive.
The grenade helped.
Is it just gonna stay alive now? Oh my god, it is. That's actually crazy. Because that looked so bad. The rally point, the non pre-SCV pull to get ready to repair, that looked disastrous. And honestly, this surface area might actually be
Yeah, he's close enough. He's
good.
okay there. He just wandered out of range. Yeah, there you go. He was like tap dancing in the in the range of too close and wandered out. Yeah. So there you go. So there's one.
Oh my gosh.
There's one supply somewhere. Oh yeah, a Reaper came back, so this guy's still alive. But
there we go. Finish the job.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was such a razor on a razor's wire.
Yeah.
Especially once the tank got situated, the actual place it got situated, there was like almost no surface area for repairs. It was like one SCV from each corner. So if enough Marines get on it fast enough, that also still goes bad.
Yeah.
But I can't believe it lived with, I don't know how much health it had, but dark red.
Yeah.
Running away for its life. The grenade, like you said, stopping some of the Marine fire.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, that was the sick one. That was pretty close. That was very much on a razor's edge. And yeah. And then ultimately the Banshee's coming out and ending things.
Yeah.
He
Finally the Banshee and the cloak both finished. Beautiful.
Indeed. So there we go. Our first two matches. We're going to be jumping to a 5-minute break. It's a perfect time to check out ProBotsAI.com. It's a perfect time to hit the like button if you have not already. And also peeing. You can go pee.
But do that last. Do the first. Check out AI bots, ProBots AI. Like, subscribe, comment, and then if you need to do anything else, food.
Yeah,
bathroom,
go do that. Yeah.
Last
secondary.
On the list. Yeah.
We are back. We are back for game number 3 and 4 of the evening. We've got BenBot 7. BenBot up against Ender. This one is a rematch from our first, or I guess second week of the group stage, where BenBot did end up taking it, but both bots have had a chance to update, and I don't think we have sometimes the bot authors will tell us what they've changed, and other times it is a mystery. In this case, mystery. so we don't know what's up. Ender is one of our newer ones, so we also just don't really know what to expect too much. Obviously, lost to BenBot initially, but then had a pretty good 2-0 against Perilous Protoss bot, the name that does not fit on the screen. And we're going to get the rematch here. BenBot games tend to be a bit longer in nature. And I'm not sure what Ender's up to. Then we're going to follow things up with this one. Sharkbot originally was a chat bot that learned to play StarCraft, I guess, against EPN Roach. Will be the last matchup of the evening.
I think these will be good. I feel like we thought BenBot Petrock last week was going to be like 45-minute
Wasn't too
games.
bad.
And it was like 20-ish minutes. So yeah, BenBot games can be fast.
Yeah.
But that was also when BenBot was losing. So we'll see if BenBot's gone ahead. Then they may take a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's the issue. BenBot and aggression do not go hand in hand. It's just a slow eventual starve out. But I don't remember the length of kind of these ones originally. But yeah, BenBot, while it's not super aggressive, it does some aggressive things. So like it will open up sometimes with a bunker rush, and that can kill you. If it doesn't, it's not meant to, but if you don't defend it well, then that can kill you. And then it will also, if it's left untouched, when it makes its first species, it will teleport them across the map and attack your mineral line. So again, if you're unprepared, that could kill you.
Yeah, but typically it's tried to play for that kind of bunker up and just kind of contain you, keep you on 2 bases, and then I'll take the entirety of the map, tech into everything I want, get the upgrades, and have a fleet of BCs at some point.
Yeah, that's basically it. Once a Benbot tries to keep everything alive, we'll retreat back home with injured units and try and just repair. We saw a lot of that against Ketrok. Here's Benbot at 1926 elo. It's one that's just gotten like steadily better, and I've always described this one as Benbot very frequently looks like it's losing until it doesn't. It's always like it's if it's not winning right away, like with the bunker rush, it looks like it's defensive the whole time, and then eventually just kind of pulls out ahead.
Yeah, I mean the difference that one BC makes is just so huge. It's kind of like that last game with that one tank. You know, when it comes out, all eyes are on that one tank. If the tank lives, then it's a completely different game than if the tank doesn't live. You know, that tank living means Micro Machine wins. Tank dying means Nyanka wins. Benbot, that first BC, it just changed the entirety of the game.
Yeah, for sure. And then Ender here with the 1576 elo. But yeah, definitely has a few tricks and is kind of the unknown factor in this one.
Yeah, definitely a bit of an underdog, but can do it, you know.
Yeah, I'm trying to recall what happened last time. I think it was like, I don't know. I thought Ender was kind of aggressive. I forget. I think in one game got contained by the bunker, but I don't remember it ever getting to the point that like a tank and a turret was there or anything. I think like a bunker got down, but then was able to break out.
That sounds right, and just delayed the third and the fourth, and then eventually the BCs came over and ended it.
Yeah, I think that's the case. But so we'll see if we get a repeat of something like that, or whether Ender can mix things up. Again, we don't know what he may or may not have changed. So let's hop in and just find out.
Benbot BC. Ender.
So we do have the proxy position here. So it does look like Benbot is going to attempt the proxy Rex and bunker.
We'll see if it gets scouted immediately. Even if not, Ender's kind of doing what you want to be doing anyway. That pull first before the hatch is going to be pretty huge. I don't know if they'll ever actually get the info until the first Marine or Reapers at their front door. But just the fact that you have access to links so early on, and I assume they're going to make like 2 or 4 just to scout around eventually. Pretty early, but we'll see.
Yeah, pretty likely. Still drone for now. But yeah, it's certainly possible, especially once he sees that a bunker is going or something, that just the SCV standing there should tip you off. But
is it
I
in
actually
range?
don't. Yeah,
the building range?
Yeah, he may not see it. Yeah, he may not see it. There's goes the bunker.
All right, getting hit. That should be an
now
alert.
It's visible.
I think another drone went down as soon as that building got hit. So we really want him to see Ling soon, for sure.
I'm surprised he can't. I thought that bunker was actually close enough to see, but he can't even see that.
Yeah, when buildings are like getting constructed, they just have such small vision. Obviously, if that was a hatch already built, you'd see everything coming in. But while it's under construction, it is pretty limited. But getting hit by this Marine, I'm surprised that there are no Lings at all. It looks like they're going to go straight to Roaches and do a bit of a drone pull.
Yeah. Kind of going for the SCV, but not really. And
I hate this drone pull.
Yeah.
So slow.
The good after bad sort of thing is pretty rough.
Oh, and the Roach Warren's on its way. You know, like...
Yeah.
Cancel the hatch or even just let it die. Once you get Roaches, you can kind of fight back pretty hard. This is just Oh.
It's almost hard to even see what he's trying to attack. It's like some of them are going for the bunkers, some of them are going for the SCV. Kind of odd, but yeah, I think this may be one of those cases where, again, this there's not a big investment into this. This is not intended to win the game, but it will.
Yeah, it's just such a huge wrench thrown into the mechanism that is Ender, and they did not know how to respond to this wrench.
Yeah.
So yeah, gonna be a pretty quick game. So yeah, when Benbot does it fast, they do it fast.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. And again, it's Benbot does not win games quickly unless the opponent volunteers. Like it's a very consensual early game win where he just donated his drones to the bunker and then called it, and then resigned too. Did not even make him kill the rest of the buildings.
And Ender knows what's going on to a certain degree.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, very unfortunate drone pull. The roaches, I think, could have been a very nice answer and counterattack and whatnot, but just doesn't get there.
So if you guessed under 5 BCs, then you were correct in that game. That is our poll question up. Nobody guessed over 11, which is it's actually almost surprised. Like my tendency with Benbot would be to either guess under 5 or more than 11. Rarely would I say
the middle ground does not exist.
10. Yeah, it's usually not one of those. Especially if you mean total built. Total accumulated may be different, but total built.
If the first one doesn't end the game, they're not going to stop building them, and they're not going to end the game.
They're going to keep coming. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, that looked pretty familiar from what we saw. That looked worse, I think, than something we saw in the first week, but because I don't remember that drone stream, just constantly coming.
After the initial one, it's kind of fine as long as you don't overcommit. Good money after bad money, but
if you could send 4 down and snipe that SCV, that sets you up well for later, and it's worth the sacrifice probably. But if that doesn't work, then the next ones aren't going to work.
Slow killing all of your drones. Not quite the play. We'll see if Ender can respond a little bit better. Maybe get a quicker scout on it or something. But we're ready for this next game.
Benbot BC. Ender.
Yeah, see, that one was in range. Yeah, we jumped in a little bit later this time. While that was building, the hatchery could actually still see it this time. So there are 6 lings on the way, so I think that made a difference.
Yeah, lings will be huge. The drones are already coming in, which I hate.
Yeah. But then the lings just go by.
The targeting is so interesting. Like you said, like the first 3 drones attack the bunker. The next 3 drones attack the SCV.
Yeah.
The next 3 drones attack the bunker. The lings don't attack anything.
Yeah. Maybe each one has its own mind, and this is just what they're doing. This is just the whole thing. There's no cohesion to what's happening here.
Yeah. This is... I thought the lings may make a big difference, but if they're going to do the same things that the drones did and just attack in a very disorganized, discombobulated kind of way...
I remembered that behavior, that what it was... It's trying to, send the lings across to block the expansion spot. It's doing it in the other base down there. It did that all game.
Just running by the bunker.
Yeah, it was trying to it goes to an expansion spot and it orbits, and it's trying to
awesome in a macro game. That's sick. I love the individual ling micro to have it. Scouting and blocking. Yeah.
but here, unfortunately, ineffective. So it's one of those gut check things. Again, Ender, this is the first season that we've had Ender in the tournament, aside from myself, but this is no relation. But yeah, there's certain things that for like newer bots, there's just certain gut checks, like chump checks, that are like, can you deal with the worker rush? Check. Can you deal with the bunker rush? Check. Can you deal with the reaper rush? Like, there's just certain things that you are like early game. If you don't have the coding to deal with it, you're just going to die. And I think that's just one of these situations where you've got to kind of face that and then probably go back to the drawing board and be like, okay, that's something that I didn't. It wasn't, these things aren't your top priority when you're first trying to get your basic bot up and running. And then, but then you got to backfill them and be like, okay, here's my concept. Here's what I want to do. Now, how do I survive all these use cases to get to whatever it was I was trying to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you're learning the game yourself, you know, you're gonna learn the build. You're gonna learn it as a one-player game.
Yeah.
You're gonna learn what you do, and that is like the basis of everything.
Yeah.
But then you have to introduce the other player and be ready for, okay, well, what if they don't let me expand 3 times, get into, you know, triple upgrades and all that good stuff. And yeah, this is like one of the first things that your opponent can do to throw a wrench in your plans. And yeah, it just took Ender completely off track.
Yeah.
The decisions of what to attack and what to defend, and like the priorities just kind of get all out of whack when you throw something in so aggressive so early, and you don't have anything planned for it.
Yeah, definitely. As they say, plans rarely survive contact with the enemy. And that's
or everyone has a plan before they get punched in the face. Or
the Tyson quote. I think that was from I think the first one was like Douglas MacArthur. The second one, Mike Tyson.
And I read a little different literature than you do.
He's an excellent speaker. So excellent speaker. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I want to see him fight Jake Paul, but not really.
I don't want to like be excited for a Jake Paul fight, but I do want to see Mike Tyson.
But I know that that's the plan. That's always the bait, though. Everyone wants to see, the whole thing is based on everyone wants to see the Paul boys get beat up, but they're signing deals and contracts and whatever.
Yeah.
When his other brother fought Mayweather, there's a point there that it looked like Mayweather knocked him out, but then he held him up. And I'm like, it's an exhibition. But like, I'm sure they signed a contract to not knock them out because that's the whole point, right? It's like, you're going to make $10 million, but don't hurt us. Like, that's the plan. Here's Sharkbot, who looks like he could knock either of them out.
I was about to say, looking like Mike Tyson a little bit.
Yeah. Even at that, Shark is 58 years old as well. An ELO of 1866 and a win rate of 51.87%. And Sharkbot can be a cheesy one as well. Does a lot of cool things.
Cheesy and cheeky.
Yeah, very. And I think it was a bad matchup that kind of knocked him down here. Played Xena, which is the random bot. And I think when you're focused often on the cheese, it's harder to adapt to that sort of thing. And here is EPN Roach with the ELO of 1329 and a 31% win rate. I think this might actually be, I don't know if it's the lowest or second lowest in terms of qualifying. I forget what the seeding exactly was, but again, this is one of our brand new bots, but has at least one round to get here. So
they 2-0'd Dovahkiin, where Sharkbot 2-1 Dovahkiin, which is, may say something to, they're not completely out of this fight, I guess. But yeah, Sharkbot going up against random. I think not only cheese is hard against random, but just Protoss in general.
Yeah.
The first pylons and there's just so much stuff that knowing your opponent's race really helps. And random is a really great strength of ambiguity, and StarCraft's already a battle of information and hidden information, and so being able to start with you don't even know what you're up against is just really strong.
Very true there. And so we'll see if he's got any plans against this solidly Zerg opponent, and let's hop into it.
Sharkbot. EPN Roach.
Because I feel like Zerg don't really
Yeah.
need too much gas, but
For sure.
double keeping roaches completely off the table is kind of nice, especially if your opponent's name's Roach.
Yeah, definitely the tool that you want to take away from them. they can always kind of jump on the gas at the natural, but particularly where they're bots, like if they're not programmed to do that, then that could be much worse. I do like chasing this probe down to its death because, yeah, it was still up to something.
Yeah, no pylon was placed anywhere close to EPN Roach's actual like hatcheries or anything. So I'm a little confused why the early forge was necessary. Obviously, it was getting attacked, and you know, it could have been dissuaded, but looks like maybe just a defensive forge for now, or at least that's what it has become.
Yeah, it does look like it this way. I don't know. Sharkbot has sometimes done that proxy pylon and then like the shield battery cannon encroachment.
Mm-hmm.
But given the placement of that pylon, that wouldn't really work. But the one where you like park outside the natural and then slowly push your way in.
Yeah, like immortal juggling.
Yeah, that sort of thing. But yeah, here with the Roach Warren coming down, and he did end up taking gases at the natural here, which is good.
Nice.
Good adaptation, because I don't think he would have done that soon otherwise. So we'll be on the right track. EPN Roach, like from the little bit that we have seen so far, has shown some potential to be like, it's not like failing these level 1 tests.
Yeah.
And that's the type of thing, like the double gas steal is the type of thing that some bots that are new would just hit that and be like, yeah, I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
like that hasn't happened to me before.
It's almost like that that first set where the barracks and factory, or that wasn't the first set, second set with Micro Machine Nyanka, where like once the technology is reset, there just is no like backup plan. And I could totally see gas stealing is like, well, now I just don't have gas, you know, like I was supposed to take gas 5 minutes ago and there's just no way to bypass that. But as it's going, EPN Roach is getting set up pretty nicely for a nice long macro game.
Yeah. And I don't know what the, like, while that did disrupt what Roach was going to do, the fact that Sharkbot did that and then went into a very defensive, like, the forge and the cannon and everything is like, okay, you put him behind, but you voluntarily kind of put yourself behind. And they're contradictory things too, with like the whole point of you delaying him getting to anything Roach or whatever means that you shouldn't have had to do this.
Yeah, it seemed like, I mean, if they built kind of like what you're saying, like outside of the natural, or I mean, could have even been like in the mineral line of the natural. If they built some cannons on that side, I love the idea of you can't use roaches and ravagers to clean up these cannons.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way it worked out where it's double gas steal, but you don't get your first gateway down until like, you know, the forge is done, your third pylon's done. You just delayed your tech so much that it doesn't seem like you have a tech advantage at all.
Yeah, it's a little bit odd. Because I think you could have skipped all this stuff and then
first Ravager going down to a single cannon is fairly painful. And kind of when you were bringing up the EPN Roach not really falling to chump checks, I do remember it was a Zerg Ditto with EPN Roach. But once they kind of lost with Dovahkiin, with Xena, once they lost like the initial fight, the streamline of units was really bad. Where it never really does like the rally up and get a strong ball. It was very much so when you have the units, send them across and just like aim move to your death. So with this like Stargate and cannon defense, I get a little bit worried that EPN Roach is going to keep bleeding out units, even though they have a great macro expansion eco going at home. I just don't think they're ever going to get an army if they are attacking like this.
Yeah, again, there's no need to come in and force the issue. So it clearly knew how to do the biles, but then it didn't need to be attacking while it was doing that. It should just do it, like pull back out, go in when it refreshes.
Yeah, kind of like the
again.
Reaper using his grenade and never actually shooting at the Marines. It was only the abilities and moving away.
Yeah. And we're also going to slowly be introducing more of the melee language into it. So instead of a ZVZ, it is a Zerg Ditto.
Oh, okay. I like it.
that's well, yeah. that was the
For
first
my
time.
sake.
Yeah, exactly. That was the first time I've heard someone say that, but it clicked that we never say that. But yeah, whatever, Fox Ditto or whatever.
Yeah, it's
Instead
just
of a
ingrained
Fox
in me.
Fox, yeah.
FVF, yeah. We don't say that often.
Yeah.
All right, and these biles, I think Sharkbot's just getting lucky. I don't think Sharkbot's going to be actively avoiding biles, so maybe if these Ravagers can get to a high enough number.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, Sharkbot being on the offensive is really nice for EPN Roach, because it's kind of making EPN Roach not just beeline all of their units across the map. It's kind of forcing them to have that, let's get a group together and actually get an army, which obviously Sharkbot did not intend to do, but I think that actually is super helpful for EPN Roach and his army composition.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's sometimes that's one thing with like a lot of bot things. Sometimes you triggered them into doing something that's good for them.
Yeah.
Like when they wouldn't have done that otherwise. And like, yeah, we've had that a few times where someone's like early aggression or poking is the only reason their opponent made a bunch of units, and then they die to those units.
Yeah, so the workers looking like Sharkbot is getting very ahead on workers, but EPN Roaches has
all the bases, which is weird. Yeah, like should be at 80 something already, but just isn't really making them. But could easily switch into it. Really not making anything at all.
Yeah, I feel like the air units being around them maybe is like scaring them on building a ton of drones right now. But it is weird that they're not hacking into anything else to deal with that threat. You know, it seems like they take it as a threat, but not enough of a threat or understand it enough.
Is. Yeah, you don't see a bunch of like Void Rays and say, "Well, I'll make more roaches." That's great.
Yeah,
I want an armored unit that cannot shoot up. That is the response.
And man, that production tab is looking really good for Sharkbot. I loved how EPN Roach started. The middle was a little ugly, but then I think it looked good again. But now I think EPN Roach just has to turn on the macro button. It has a large army, so maybe if it jumps on this army and gets some really nice biles, but there are only 2 Ravagers right now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not a big bulk in that. The Colossus here are interesting because there's no like gateway units helping them. They're defended by the Void Race, which is a little odd. And they're just kind of mobile here. And particularly on this map, these weird cliffs and bridges, I think are really nice for the Colossus. But weirdly nice with them when there's no gateway with them.
Yeah.
The gateway would still have to go around.
Well, because they're almost air units. Yeah.
Yeah, so it oddly works there. I don't know. I maybe just did an army assessment, but I think he could have attacked right then. At least poked at this stuff and then got into a kiting match.
Yeah, I mean, the Void Rays can even just go in themselves completely. The Colossus, you definitely have to be careful because this amount of roaches, if it gets on the Colossus, will eat them up pretty quick. But yeah, I mean, for poking and prodding, and especially if you're not on creep or like deep in creep, the Colossus Void Ray should be able to kite pretty well against a roach army.
Yeah, for sure. Again, especially on this terrain where they're going to have to take longer paths sometimes.
Playing around cliffs.
And it's, again, though, like where we got, it's kind of a, given the opening with the gas steel and given the opening with the forge and given like double Stargate and whatever, for there not to have been a sharp timing that you hit is kind of odd. And
Yeah.
now even wandering into like DT is just kind of like, what's the plan?
Yeah, it seems a little bit like someone's like first time playing the game, where they just want
Yeah.
to build a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
You know, you got your mothership on your way. You already have a Templar Archives. You have a Dark Shrine. You have Tempest coming out. You have ground weapons. The first couple gateway units, which we haven't seen like any gateway units.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a lot of ideas going on. I think it's gonna work great because EPN Roach still has 36 workers.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's gonna win. Like, yeah. So I'm not doubting that part of it. It's definitely gonna win. It's gonna be fine. But it just kind of like when Sharkbot was coding, or like when the author was coding this, what was the plan? Like, what were you coding?
Yeah, because this clearly is not a response to roaches.
Yeah.
You don't see roaches in build Colossus, Tempest, DTs, you know?
Yeah.
And so yeah, it seems like this was where it wants to be, which is just an interesting Mod Podge of units and abilities.
Yeah, and here a pretty big overreaction from a couple biles that the Void Rays are not helping.
Yeah, Voiders are running a lot, but
Yeah.
I think even just the little bit of micro that the
It's
Colossus
fine.
are doing a decent amount. And
Yeah.
before the show, Drekken was talking about someone was going to come on the talk show that they have on I think it's like the last Friday of every month.
Yeah.
But that kind of goes in depth about really specific bot stuff, and they were going to go over making sure that disruptors don't fire on their own units.
Yeah.
The biles, there needs to be something for that as well, because once the biles were shot, the Roach army at least walked through like half of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Some of them hit the Void Rays, but while they're trying to kite, there was so much friendly fire of those biles. So even though the Void Rays were not attacking, that Roach clump was just taking so much like AoE damage on that chase.
Yeah, definitely. That sort of thing does happen. I think some of those projectile-based things can be harder to track, because while we see like here's the circle and we kind of know the timing, that's a little harder for the AI.
Yeah, it's almost like that object permanence of the Reaper jumping down the cliff and then being like, I wonder if I can scout again. It's like, you just saw 12 Marines up there. You know, they're still there. But yeah, the vision and I mean, I think there's no better way to put it other than the understanding of object permanence of like, if they don't see it happening, it's not happening or it's not there. And so it makes stuff like Biles or Tempest, Novas very hard to take into account.
Yeah, dealing with stuff like memory, especially like short-term kind of fleeting memory, is hard to deal with in a lot of AI type applications, not just this, but it's something they struggled with like ChatGPT and similar models, that like if you want it to have a memory because it needs to know the conversation you've been having if you I ask follow-up questions, but also if you ask 3 questions about World War II and then ask about a Taylor Swift song, if it has too much memory, kind of, it will answer the Taylor Swift thing in the context of World War II. Like it doesn't understand that you switched subjects, and it's kind of the same here. Of like, you clearly wanted to remember there's an army up the cliff 2 seconds ago. What about 2 minutes ago?
Yeah, you don't want to be respecting that army for the rest of the game because there are 5 Marines there at the 2-minute mark.
Yeah, so you'll see actually some of the bots that we have as they're playing, you'll get a text message that they've tagged something, like tag Reaper 14 or whatever. So they're kind of keeping an inventory of the things that they've seen. So that's kind of one way that people are doing it, of like, if I haven't seen this in a while, but I haven't killed it, it probably still exists.
Yeah, or at least that technology exists of like especially like something like Banshees or something.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, there is the possibility that there will be cloaked Banshees at some point.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to take that into mind. Can we click on the Warp Prism real quick? Did they have High Templar in there with Storm? Because that seems like such a high level.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
That's like, just such a specific micro that seems like it would be really challenging.
Yeah.
But I love that. I mean, they have like one unit of every type, but I love that they have that built-in of saving the warp prism. It's usually for against Terrans to not get EMP'd, but I like just having it, and it's a speed prism, so
yeah, it's a really fun. It's always fun watching like human. It's such a risky but high yield thing. If like that.
Yeah.
If it works, but it's so risky to put like 4 of the most valuable units.
Oh yeah.
Into a tin can, basically.
I mean, you see Archon drops when that used to be like the go-to harass, and you lose that warp prism, and it's like, all right, GG.
It's like, wow,
you just lost like everything that you had.
Yeah, exactly. It's very high risk. A second of inattention could take it out. But yeah, Sharkbot pretty dominant there, kind of all over the place with like unit comp and like what the timing plan was. But yeah, obviously, ultimately an army that can't really be dealt with too well. This engagement though, especially with the Void Rays turning the beams on, which make it more effective against armored, which is exactly what roaches are, having them turn it on and then instantly spend the entire time backing up is something that could definitely be improved on. And they showed the ability to fan out. If you deal with the potential biles by fanning out instead of retreating in a clump, that's probably a lot more effective.
Yeah. Well, and if you're going to play that, if you want to stay kind of quick and nimble and try to be retreating, not only does the prismatic alignment do extra damage to armor, but it also slows you down.
Yeah.
And so by turning it on and then trying to play like the runaway game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite thing that you want to do.
Two kind of ideas fighting against each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think also what I was kind of happy for EPN Roach about with Sharkbot moving across and kind of forcing EPN Roach to stay home, I think may have also been the detriment of never building another worker.
Yeah.
So while it kind of kept
EPN
Roach on the defense and not just sending one Ravager at a time to fight a cannon, I think it went too far on the other side and said, okay, we have to go only units. It was on like 5 bases with a gold base, and it has that 36 saturation, I think, like through 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right there, that you can make too harsh of a calculation. That's like, hey, we're behind in army supplies, so to only do this, there's a threat. But then not to realize, like, but I need workers to catch up. I can't
eventually
just make them.
I will need more workers.
Yeah. So there you go. Potentially last game coming up right now. If Sharkbot takes it, then it is through. Let's find out.
Sharkbot. EPN Roach.
All right, looks fairly similar. We have Sharkbot with the double gas steel, I believe, with a forge first again. If we can just take a look at that natural real quick. Yeah. So a forge for like the one defensive cannon, but they don't even try to build the cannons on the other side. That's what shocks me, I think, the most.
Yeah, it feels like you would, at the very least, like maybe stick with it the natural, see how they respond, whatever. I think Sharkbot took its own gases quicker this time. I think the cyber core was already being built by the time it took them.
Okay.
So I don't know what that'll change, or whether obviously that was all a very gas heavy thing from last time.
He already went into double Stargate, so there's nothing like I can think of to be more gassy.
Yeah, triple Stargate. Whatever.
But yeah, the cyber just gets finished. It almost seems like the gases might be too quick now. Because the cyber core is so delayed. That gateway timing is just so important, because everything is going to be based off of that. You know, it's the dominoes, it's the butterfly effect. You got to finish your gateway. You got to finish your cyber to start getting your stargates. So I guess he'll be able to throw down 2 stargates at a time, which maybe is like more of the goal of the gas. But yeah, it just seems so delayed, and the forge seems so useless for the most part.
I don't know what it's trying to prevent. Like, I guess you're potentially trying to prevent a Ling flood, but that doesn't really seem. That's not really the way to do it. Like, you're kind of better off with just a zone.
An adept or something. Yeah. Like your first units are going to be so much more helpful.
Yeah.
Unless you're full walling, which they're not full walling. If you're full walling, I can kind of see it, but even then, like full walling to delay so that your first first adept can come out, I think still is as strong as you need. You know.
Yeah. Because they can't get. You've delayed the roaches. You delayed any biles that are coming. So, yeah, that's usually supposed to be the point of it. But anyway, that's how we've gone, and it looks like we're going to get a similar double void ray out and see how these units react. Micro Machines author, by the way, in chat, kind of mentioning how it does deal with it when the Reaper like jumped back up the cliff. So it sounds like it keeps the position of stuff for several seconds in memory, but then does not try and like anticipate where or when things are going to move or whatever. So it sounds like when it jumped down, it still thought that they were farther away and didn't anticipate that they then moved closer to the cliff.
Moved while out of vision.
Yeah. So I think that kind of explains the response of jumping up. Of it knew the units were present, but didn't know where they were.
Makes sense. I love the I don't know if it was to make it a full wall, but that shield battery was put down and canceled after the threat was kind of no longer as threatening.
Yeah.
That just seems like really smart early game defense. You know, really strong play against the kind of chump checks that we've seen just completely destroy players.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. Void Ray's here. Void Ray's a little more aggressive in cleaning up that first pack of things.
And it almost looks like before the Void Ray buff, where every Protoss game versus Zerg was double Stargate, get some Void Rays out, and then you can just kind of poke around and you're safe against almost everything. You know, it gives you a very solid macro base.
Yeah, for sure. They're kind of a good answer to early Roach, and then the biles are not usually a threat to them. Like they move well enough that you can avoid anything like that. The Queen, even going down here, there should be enough, although more coming in. I think he could have grabbed the other one before having to retreat, but better safe than sorry. And
especially
and
if it was just the one hurt one retreating,
Yeah.
They've got the APM. They're at 21,000 APM. They could just pull back the one weakened one.
Yeah.
But
sure.
regrouping is never too bad of an option. They're going to go into the Robo Bay. I feel like when humans did this a lot, disruptors would usually be the play, just to make sure if hydras or something came out, you kind of would have an answer. I think just because disruptors are a little bit more annoying to control, I think that's why Sharkbite kind of goes into that Colossus Void Ray composition, which is a little bit weirder and a little more expensive. But it does work against everything but like corruptors.
Yeah, for sure. It's even a second forge coming down for a third forge coming down. All 3 upgrades.
Oh, we getting shields?
Right, probably. We're getting everything. And chronoing out those ones. Then maybe we should get like a second cybercore for like double weapon, like air weapons.
Yeah, it does seem like you're going to have a lot of air.
Yeah.
Okay. EPN Roach is at 36 drones. I am praying that they go above 36 because I think that was kind of the mark.
Yeah,
that's
exactly
stopped.
what it was. That is weird if that's somehow intentional. Because I could see doing that if you had like the 3 hatcheries and maybe then you're like, okay, I'm only really mining 2 and this one's a macro hatch and whatever. you don't do 5 hatches.
Yeah, and like spread out as real, but
yeah,
it's not like these are all macro hatches in the main base. This is like you could have a gorgeous economy, but EPN Roach just wants to max out on roaches with 36 workers.
Yeah, a little odd to say the least. And I'm curious how this first engagement will go to, like the way that we saw the replays of that, like the Void Rays retreating back, like it could have just crushed something that you often want to do. Like I think again, people get their armies to move together, but part of the benefit of having this Colossus Void Ray combo is that the Colossus can kite back while the Void Rays are just sitting there firing.
Yeah,
Because you do, but I think people have the tendency to maybe keep them together, but that defeats the whole point. Is the Colossus should go in and poke, and then be like, "Are you gonna come get me? Because if you walk towards me, the Void Rays are gonna shell you."
yeah. It's almost like that cannon defense outside the natural, where you have somewhere to retreat to.
Yeah,
but your cannons are mobile, flying, extra damage against armored, god
invincible.
units.
Yeah, invincible to your army, sort of things. They can easily get out of the way of biles. Yeah, that like you want to bait them into that sort of thing, and then decide. It's similar to like a lot of cases where you're like the Marines can come forward, but there's tanks set up or something.
Yeah.
Like you can't chase me, you can't come into me to kill the thing that you want to kill because there's this defense.
The like Viking tank marine,
Yeah,
beautiful symbiotic relationship where they all protect each other from one other
yeah,
predatory.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, if your Vikings want to come chase down my Vikings, they fly over Marines. If you, like everything just works that way. Here, and again, like everything coming back as a group, it did the same thing.
The biles just hurt when I watched. Yeah,
he'd almost be better off here. I want to see if the behavior changes. It doesn't, but I thought maybe when the Colossus died, the Void Rays would attack.
Yeah,
because nothing retreats now, but now they will on their end. But yeah, that was definitely way more effective to just jump on the Colossus and take them out.
Yeah, EPN Roach destroys the ground army easily.
Yeah.
They just do not have the means to fight against this many Void Rays. And I think like maybe some sort of logic of like not using defensive files or something, because like on buildings, amazing. On units when you're like at their base, pretty good. But you just can't chase while biling, or else it's just gonna be bad. And I don't know how to, make that work right. Where you're either not chasing and you have to figure out when to pull back as well, and trying to use them more as like disruptor zoner shots, where it's you're not trying to jump on an army with disruptors. You're kind of just trying to keep them away from you. But as it looks, it hurts so bad when those biles hit 7 roaches, at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. Your own stuff. Queen's being cleaned up here. A lot of the creep being pushed back as well, which really good creep spread from EPN Roach just across the whole map.
I do love the observer micro from Sharkbot as well. He always has 2, sometimes 3 or 4, and they're always doing a little bit of movement. Yeah, not going to get biled down or anything, losing them too stupidly or anything like that. Don't run into it.
Yeah.
Please. And now Sharkbot's army is just getting too crazy, and EPN Roach never getting above 36. Just content to
that's
3
weird.
base eco.
Yeah, I don't know if that's I've got to assume something is going wrong, because it's hard to believe that's the intention.
The plan A,
Yeah.
Well, and like Sharkbot seemed less aggressive this time, but still had that initial push out with the voids that got like a queen. So maybe it's just like whenever they, EPN Roach gets under attack, it kind of just turns a switch on or off. But it didn't seem like Sharkbot was that aggressive for most of the game.
Yeah, not enough to be like, I'm under attack, because it was only a couple Void Rays that initially came out. Because when he hit the 36, it was way too early like there definitely was not the assessment. There's a bigger army on EPN or on the Sharkbot side because there wasn't.
Yeah, the pressure
at the
wasn't there
time.
yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at this time, there is pressure. EPN Roach cannot
Yes.
build drones now, and this is the time that they're going to build drones because they want to go back up to 36. So yeah, it's the 36 number. It seems like it's not even a assessment thing because it will get back to 36 while it's losing its spaces.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm trying to think why you would settle on that directly too, because it's not like a 2-base saturation. Like it seems specific, but it's a weird specific number to pick.
Well, I know Zergs have a lot of specific, like if you're going to defend against Glaive Adepts, you want to stop at 66 drones, or like really specific kind of criteria, which I feel like other races just don't have as much of. But yeah, 36 just seems so crazy low for any kind of maxed out army, which it seems like it does want to max out on roaches,
Yeah, for sure. Which is again fine, but then why the bases?
Yeah.
And the deployment there too, like it's not 36
like
and they're all over the place. Yeah, it's weird. But there you go. Cleaning everything up eventually.
With the box start army, we got disruptors, archons, mothership, a little bit of everything in there. Yeah, I would love to see Sharkbot against a Terran because I really want to see the Warp Prism storms come into legit play. I feel like here it's been a afterthought that was not needed.
Yeah.
But it'd be really interesting to see it storm some bio forces and stuff.
It could be a really interesting one, again, with AI behavior that often treats certain things as if they're not a threat. I could see a lot of AI being like, well, that's just a harmless warp person. Don't attack that.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of that could happen. And, of course, again, unless you really specifically programmed it to do this, things will not remember that there's, like, 4 stormers in there.
What's in it? Yeah. I mean, Warp Prism has to be one of the hardest things to wrap your brain around.
Because it can just create units.
Yeah, and you can replace units in there so easily, and just like the levels of deception and unknown information with Warp Prisms is very high. And then if they start respecting it, what happens when you hallucinate a Warp Prism, or you do empty Warp Prisms and just you can't respect them too much, but you can't ignore them. It's just it's a hard unit to play around for sure. Yeah, Sharkbot looked pretty good. The openings I don't love, but I guess it's kind of one of those.
Yeah.
If I can get past the first 5 minutes, I feel comfortable. Then make your cannons, But
yeah, which I think is probably the motivation behind the gas steal. But then I just don't think it's cohesive.
You don't need both. Yeah. It's like turning on your prismatic alignment and running away. It's like either one works. You just can't have a little bit of everything because you're not doing anything then. You're not disrupting their technology when you haven't built a gateway.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, pretty good night, pretty good games. The Micro Machine ones were really interesting.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
That tank was so sick.
Yeah. Very, very very thin line of victory, very almost dead tank. So yeah, those are interesting ones. If you're just joining us and missed them, definitely go back and watch them. But yeah, good results tonight. Let's take a look at I guess the updated brackets. I don't know if we have the production could tell me. Do we have the
singly limb? What it actually looks like?
Bracket yet? Yeah, I don't know, but we'll see after these if we do or not. No, we don't. Okay, so we've got Zozo beating Kanana, another 2-1, kind of a repeat of what we saw in the first week, where there was also a 2-1 there, really, really close fight with the Zealot rushes. Very map dependent there, but Zozo will advance, and Kanana, a very strong bot to get knocked out in the group stages.
Yeah, that one felt a little bit like the Micro Machine games, where it's like it gets into such craziness at the beginning. It can really go either way every game.
Yeah. And yeah, there's a one we're mentioning, Micro Machine, also 2-1 over Neonka. Those were like pretty hectic, short. They were longer than maybe they should have been, given that all the workers were dead within the a minute, within like 2 minutes on the Yonkers side. But yeah, really interesting interactions there,
Yeah.
and very, very, very close.
The kind of games that could go to draws if they
Yeah.
were humans, where it's
Yeah,
like,
for
man,
sure.
this is we're both screwed. And
Yeah,
so we just
they
gotta
both
see what happens and
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
do
they
what you
both
can
could
with
have
what you got.
lifted. Yeah, they both could have lifted and just stayed. Whatever. Ben Bot over Ender. 2-0. Those ones, bunker contain turned into pure victory.
Yeah, definitely the most one-sided match of the
Yeah,
night.
yeah. Just didn't have the response. So that's something. Ender showed a lot of potential, like especially against Perilous Protoss bot. Looked really strong. But just didn't have. It's just a case of, did you code something properly to deal with this? If the
Mhm.
answer is no, you lose, and then it just really harshly.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully that will be worked on, and then we'll see more of Ender next season. And then Sharkbot against EPN Roach. Sharkbot with the build anything build.
But start with cannons.
yeah. Start with cannons. Start with
At
steel.
home.
Like just crazy disruptive stuff, I guess, and then into a fairly weird but kind of works combination. The laser combination, basically.
Yeah, the void
Yeah.
colossus just
Yeah, and but EPM Roach again showing weird behavior to cut off the tech or the droning at 36, but certainly shows some potential there.
Production line,
there
we do
we
have
go.
it.
We do have it. Maybe they probably just put it together very quick because they're awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so we're gonna have that is it. That's pretty well done for that. Tier T against Sharkbot will be a pretty interesting one there. Catch Rock against Micro Machine is kind of a classic. I feel like we've had that many times in our history. Phobos against Benbot, also a pretty interesting one. That's going to be a TVT as well. And then we've got, now this one's really crazy. So a random bot against a bot that's going to try and do probably straight up Zealot rushing.
Zealot, yeah. I feel like if Xena gets Terran, it's just gonna suck for Zozo.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
The other matchups I think could kind of like, because Zozo's not playing macro, so I feel like it matters less. You know,
Yeah.
like with a Flower Rush, you're gonna build Zealots regardless. So against Protoss and Zerg, I feel like feels kind of good. Terran, I'd be very afraid. And Xena's just a very strong bot, so I think that one will be very interesting.
Yeah, that's a good matchup. Yeah, so that's how it's going to shape up. So we're starting with these matches next week, and I think we're playing all of them for 4 matches. So cool. Looking forward to it.
Heck yeah, I'll have to miss next week,
Yes,
but I should be here for the finals, the semis, and the real final. So I'm gonna see the best of the best.
Nice,
which I'm very excited for.
Nice. Well, we'll miss you for sure. I think Ketrock is filling in. Yeah, so that will
no
be
bias.
Good. Yeah, no, but
I'm sure
he's pretty good. We used to try and like avoid like if it was his match,
if they're
like
playing,
we'd swap off or something. But it's whatever. He's good at speaking about Ketrock in the third person.
Nice,
and just kind of taking it out, and he doesn't get too bothered by it or anything. So it's all good. But yeah, join us next week for that. Should be good. Again, check out ProBotsAI.com and as well as AIArena.net if you're curious about the latter and some of the resources they have. If you're watching this later as a VOD, the description below should have links to templates for making your own bot and getting started with that stuff if you want to give it a go. And as always, like, subscribe, mail Draken a check for $2,000 a week. Anyways, yeah, just support things however you can, and that would certainly help out. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh yeah, and of course on Mondays, Draken has been doing the mob bot programming, where he gets on stream and programs a Zerg microbot that is doing pretty well.
Like, yeah, that's the best spot. If you know how to code but don't know how to start for SC2, bot coding,
Check it out.
go check that out. See it from, kind of the beginning and from a learning perspective. That was very fun. Yeah, sweet matches tonight. Very excited to see how the playoffs actually shake out now that we have our top 8 bots.
Indeed. Now the tension's on. No second chances anymore.
We're all winners
win or
now.
die. Win or die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Thanks for tuning in, and see everyone next week.